I'm Stephen King, award-winning and best-selling author of The Stand, and I'm here today to talk you through a few sneak peeks at an upcoming film based on my novel, The Stand. You see, I've chosen today to walk you through the story of Stu Redman, a character within The Stand for whom I have a personal fondness. You see, Stu truly conveys the message that in the right circumstances, even the most ordinary and seemingly plain of men can truly rise to the occasion and become extraordinary. We begin on a dull night at Haps Texaco Station in Arnett, Texas. It's a little town in East Texas. Stu, among others, Vic Palfrey, Norm Brewitt, and Hap, the owner of the Texaco Station, are just sitting around, having a few drinks, having some friendly and not so friendly banter, when suddenly a car crashes through the gas pumps. Stu heroically speaks to the driver who has clearly fallen ill. And this is where we first meet the character of Stu Redman. Let us take a look.
I hate this national debt. You know what we should do? Just get a whole bunch of money and put it into circulation.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Why not?
Because it's stupid.
It's not stupid.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
You're stupid.
Oh, what? Excuse me, how?
Because that's just stupid.
Hap, turn off the pumps.
What? Why?
Turn off the pumps! What the hell?
What's wrong with this guy?
Hey!
Are they okay? Are they okay?
Is who okay?
Are they okay?
Yeah, they're okay. They're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine.
Oh yeah.
Go get an ambulance. Call an ambulance. Sir, you're gonna be all right, okay? What's your name?
Yeah.
Oh God. Hap! Wow, that is truly heartbreaking. To continue Stu's story, after the events at Haps Texaco Station, all of the people in this group, including Stu himself, are taken and quarantined at a special facility in Atlanta that is a plague center. You see, it's clear at this point that something has gone wrong, and Stu is desperate for answers. Stu is being contained, but he seems rather healthy. He refuses, however, to have his blood pressure checked or to cooperate with the nurses and doctors around him at all until he can get some kind of answers. And so, as a result, the people in charge of this facility finally decide to send in Mr. Dick Dykes, a man that can sort of give Stu some of the answers that he's been looking for. Take a look.
Well, sorry, Mr. Redman.
Are you finally gonna give me some answers?
To my best of my ability, sir, my name is Dick Van Dykes. Damn it. 3, 2, 1. Sir, my name is Dick Dykes. Are you Stuart Redman?
Can you finally give me some answers?
To the best of my ability, sir.
Alright, well, the others, what happened to them? The ones I came with?
Deceased, sir. All but one little girl, you about 4 years old.
They're dead? All of them?
Yes, sir.
What did you do?
Sir, it wasn't my fault.
What
sir.
did you
Sir,
do?
Sir,
What did you
It
do?
was never my fault, sir. It was an accident, sir.
Some accident.
Sorry, sir.
What about Arnett?
Quarantined.
Is anyone dead there?
Nobody.
You're lying.
Sorry, that's what you think, sir. Sir, are you okay, sir?
Don't bother. I was just faking.
What do you mean, faking?
I was faking.
Why?
Sorry, that's classified, sir.
You mother...
Oh, Stu. So, to continue Stu's travels, he was moved from this Atlanta plague center after this incident to a more prison-like hospital where he was being cared for, although he was not shown much compassion while he was there. It is then told to us as readers that Stu escapes from this hospital. He manages to break himself out and to steal a rifle along the way. Now we see Stu traversing this post-apocalyptic world where he cannot find a single human soul. He is lost and he's wondering what is happening, where is everybody? And so Stu is experiencing what many people in this novel experience, the true void that is being alone in a world like this, in a world torn by disease and by human folly. It is at this point that Stu meets a friend, Glenn Bateman, and his dog, Kojak, of course. He actually begins this scene by stumbling upon the dog without his owner. Let's take a look. You're a good boy.
Kojak! Hi!
Hey,
Hope you're not planning to do anything with that rifle there, sir.
don't worry about it. I ain't got a chance to use it yet, and I don't think I will.
Glenn Bateman, nice to meet you.
Stu Redmond.
Say, you want a beer?
Sure.
Been traveling for a while.
Yeah, same here. Where you came from? I came from Arnett, Texas.
I came from over in Georgia.
Nice.
So hypothetical question here, Stu.
What's up?
Say there's a town. Let's call it Town A.
All right.
They're rich and they're off well. Then there's Town B. Let's say your Town B is poor and they got a power plant of some sort, right? But in this power plant they got a nuke, right? What's Plan B? What's Town B gonna do?
Well, I guess move out south. I guess maybe even East Texas.
Well, that'll work too, but I was thinking they use the nuke. They ain't got that power plant.
Right. I mean, power plant don't work, but a nuke sure do.
I mean, if it was myself, I'd drive it up Town A and blow it in smithereens, take off that nuclear warhead, drive it up in some station wagon.
Yeah. I mean, can't really argue with that.
Say, you want a sandwich? I was known in my hometown for making good ones.
Yeah, sure.
Say, Stu, you ever have bad dreams?
Yeah, as much as anyone else, I suppose.
Well, lately, even when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I had sex dreams. Wet and dry. Nowadays, I've just been having horrid dreams. Dreams of suicide, dreams of terror. I don't know what's up with it. But lately, I had this dream. This black lady. She be staring at me, and I wake up in the coldest of sweats. I don't know what's up with it.
Really? It's strange. I seem to be having a very similar dream.
Really, Stu?
Yeah, and I'm having another one where this thing. I don't really know what it is. It's like kind of like a man, but it's evil. It's dark, and it just looks at me, and it's red eyes, and I don't know. I just don't like it. It scares me.
I don't know, man. Sounds pretty creepy. Say, Kojak and I are gonna head out west. I can really sure use a friend.
Yeah? I mean, I've been just wandering around with no place to go, so I guess that's as good as any.
Alright, sounds good.
Let's get going.
Now,
As Stu and Glenn head out west, they begin to gather a bit of a following. They develop a party of sorts. And along the way, Stu meets his new love interest, Franny. Franny is a very prominent character throughout the novel, and she ends up falling in love with Stu as he is just such a charismatic and likable man. And so, at this point, we see a different side of Stu. We see a bit more caring and vulnerable side, and even passionate. However, one thing serves to stand in his way, and that is a young man by the name of Harold. You see, Harold is a childhood friend of Franny's, and it's clear that he is infatuated with her, but lately he has become very off. He's become very jealous and very, well, I'll let the video speak for itself.
Something's changed, Franny. What is it?
I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong.
It's Stu. You love him.
No.
I knew it. I love you, Franny.
Hey friend, is something wrong?
It's Harold.
Yeah, that guy gives me the creeps.
Anyway, let's talk about something else. What do you think about those new girls?
Well, I don't really know, but they've been having the same dreams as us, so I guess that's something.
Well, you never know what a woman will do.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But like,
Wow. Well, anyway, with Glenn, Stu, and the whole party moving out west, they eventually settle in Boulder, Colorado, where a new community has sprung up known as the Free Zone. This Free Zone is spearheaded by Mother Abigail, a 108-year-old woman who is quite wise and lovable, and therefore the people just adore her and rally behind her. However, it is decided by Glenn that a government of some sort must be put into place, with Mother Abigail as the figurehead, of course. So, the leader of this government, who has true legislative power, is chosen as Stu, because he is both capable, smart, and he is also a very relatable guy, so the public can get behind him. And so, at the first meeting of the entire Free Zone, Stu is hailed by the crowd. They just love him, and this continues throughout this part of the novel. You see that the Free Zone is just adoring Stu. And at this point, Mother Abigail has a vision, and she decides that she has a task which only Stu, Glenn, and a few chosen others are up for. Let's take a look. You wanted to see us?
I've had a vision. I need you to assemble a group and head west to fight the Dark Man.
May I take my dog, man?
Sure.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
Alright.
Let's go get our group. As Stu and his party head out west to fight the Dark Man, they are hit with an unforeseen problem along the way. Stu, in a wipeout, has severely injured his leg. It is decided for the good of the group that Stu must be left behind to fend for himself, and so they leave him. Not completely alone, they leave Kojak, Glenn's dog, with him, as assistance in any way that he can be. And so at this point, we take a little break from Stu, and we talk about the climax of the story. You see, at this point, we are given a detailed account, which I won't go very much into right now, of the final stand of Randall Flagg, also known as the Dark Man, which results in a nuclear explosion that sadly takes the lives of every member of Stu's party. Stu, witnessing this nuclear explosion from miles and miles away, a safe distance, he realizes that his friends have died, and he realizes that it's over, that the Dark Man has been defeated, that their sacrifice was worth it. And so, Stu eventually is able to heal enough to where he is able to, along with Kojak's help, make the trek back to Boulder, Colorado. However, once Stu arrives, he is greeted in the loving arms of Franny, who has given birth to a child. Mind you, not Stu's child, but a child that he will care for nonetheless. Let's look. I'm home.
Oh, I'm so glad you're home. What happened to the others?
I don't know how to tell you this, Franny. They didn't make it. As the novel winds to a conclusion, we see Stu and Franny begin to experience a true happiness that it seems no one had until now in this book. Because in a post-apocalyptic world, it's hard to achieve true happiness until you have found the means to be human again, the means to be surrounded by other people, and to have some sort of hope. And so, as we see Stu and Franny begin their life together and begin this journey back to being whole, we see a true expression of the strength and the resiliency of the human spirit. I'll let the conclusion speak for itself. Fran?
But,
Nothing. Never mind.
well, it's getting late. Help me put him to bed.
My pleasure. Time. All any of us can do is buy time. Time enough for poor old Mother Earth to recycle herself. A season of rest.
What?
A season of rest.
What?
It's everything. Franny, do you think people ever change?
I don't know.
Once again, I'm Stephen King, and I hope that you've enjoyed my walk through the life of Stuart Redman.